Hello and welcome to the video. You join me here today at a tiny little mountain bothy in the Northern Pennines, and I'm thrilled about finding this in the first place because this bothy behind me isn't on any OS maps whatsoever. I don't know why, I don't really know how they've missed it. It's a bit bizarre. I mean, the wall down there that you can see, that is actually on OS maps. However, the bothy behind me isn't. And that's what makes it so special. Let's explore, set up the tent, and have an awesome night. Just showing you around the mountain bothy. Now we're inside, so it really is quite a small one, to be honest. There's not masses going on in here, but equally the things that are going on are quite pretty and detailed and well looked after as well. So behind me we've got a set of sleeping mats. There's around about 6 there, so you could use those who stopped overnight. Some of the workers who come and look after this place, so some of the rangers do stop up here, so those would be really comfy and really useful overnight. And equally, if you wanted to stop here as well, those are sort of available. We've then got a coal burning fireplace down there too. You've got to bring your own coal up for that. There is a little bit left over, however I won't be using that tonight, just because I don't need to be honest. It's pretty warm in here as it is, but it's nice to have, especially if it's really cold and raining, at least you'd have that option of burning a bit of coal. And they've even got some wood to get it started too, just under the big throne which is there. Also got a bit of a mantelpiece which has got all sorts of, you know, interesting things on, such as this, which I don't know what it does. If anyone does know what this does, then let me know, because I don't. And we've even got the grid reference of the bothy on there, but we won't show that for too long, because otherwise you'll all know where the bothy is. Got a few bits of information about the bothy, so this actually goes through all the different rules and regulations of it, and actually gives the email address as well of the warden that you've got to email to stop here for the night. We've even got a satellite photo of where it is as well on there. Got a bread bin, got a first aid kit as well, which I've managed to skip past. And then we've got all these random bits of assortment. So we've got everything from coffee to tuna to paracetamol to books and all that sort of jazz. So there's a lot going on in a small space. And it's, yeah, it's really, really well looked after. I mean, everything from, you know, like these mugs and stuff, they're not chipped. They're really, really, just everything has clearly had a lot of thought, a lot of attention put to it, and you can tell not many people visit because it's kept in such a nice condition. So now you've seen a bit of the bothy, what we're going to do is find somewhere outside, somewhere flat to pitch the tent for the night. I did have a quick look round when I arrived and I couldn't spot anywhere massively noticeable. So I think it might be a case of pitching it somewhere where it's a little bit lumpy perhaps, but the roll mats might make it a bit better. Oh, shut the doors, make sure it stays warm in there so I can have dinner in there later. There we go, I think we found our space there. I think we pitched the tent on this little bit here. We've got the mountain bothy to wake up to in the morning, and that's relatively flat. Right, so we've got our tent all set up out there for the night now, and actually you can start to feel the weather really coming in. It's predicted to rain at about sort of 9:30 through the night to the early hours of the morning. So I have pitched the tent pretty decently and put the guy ropes out quite far as well, because
Yeah, that sole's all right, but you've got to remember it's basically a cheapy sort of summery tent from Van Gogh, so I don't trust it massively. But I'm getting a new tent next week. In fact, in a few days' time, so that is quite exciting. So hopefully on the next wild camping trip I do, we'll get to use that. However, for now, it's dinner time, and I have got something terribly interesting with me. This is a SHO, I don't know whether it's show or whether it's SHO, food flask. And what it is, well, it does what it says on the tin, basically. It keeps food warm. Now, I cooked some noodles in here, some chicken noodles, around about 3-4 hours ago, and popped them in my bag and thought, right, I'll have those when I get to the Bothy later. And it saves cooking, saves a bit of gas, and it's just quick and easy, you know, especially when you're not hiking particularly far in. This place is around about an hour 40, something like that, so it made some sort of sense to just cook dinner and put it in here beforehand. The question is it still warm? This is like an SHO food flask review, live in person. So you've got a top lid, which keeps it warm, bit of extra insulation. Then you've got a built-in sort of fork/spoon into the top of it. So if I can actually fold that out the right way, we might get there. And then it's got the final actual proper sort of seal on top. Oh, there's some food compartments in there that I never knew about anyway. Let's get that last bit off. This was pretty full when I put it in earlier, so it's probably going to come out a bit full too. Yes. Right, so that's the lid. How very nice. Got noodles over it, and then we've got noodles literally jammed in there. But is it warm? I don't know. Or is it? Well, it's still hot, really. That's kind of what I want. Let's try it out. And you know what? They are. That is a brilliant idea. As I said, that's about 4 hours, and they're still, I wouldn't say hot, but warm, that they're nice to eat. So yeah, SHO food flasks. That's not bad. 4 hours, dinner in a flask, and ready to eat when I got to the mountain bothy. So I'm not sure how well that's showing on camera, but the weather has arrived, and arrived a little bit earlier than I thought it was going to. It's a good job that I got the tent pitched before having dinner, but it's so nice to have these mountain bothies available to anyone. I mean, as I said, I'm not stopping in this tonight because yes, I could. However, it's not the right thing to do during coronavirus, and also without messaging as well. It's rude, you know. This isn't a publicly available bothy for anyone to sleep in. You have to email, and I haven't. So I'm not sleeping in here, I'm sleeping in the tent. However, as a form of shelter from the elements, these things are absolutely invaluable. We're on the side of Crossfell. Crossfell is quite a dangerous mountain. Many people get lost up there. There is another bothy called Greg's Hut, which is on the other side of Crossfell, and there's this one too. However, Greg's Hut's on the map, this isn't. So maybe it's something OS maps need to re-look. I don't know why it's not on it, I haven't got a clue. There's another one, which is, again, not really registered as anything on the map, just up the road from here. But it is at least a building on the map, whereas this isn't. And it's been here a while, this place too. I have just been shit up by a sheep which has walked past the window. Now, I'll show you the window and you'll see why. I was sat here ready to film, I heard some rustling here, and all of a sudden, this sheep looked at me through that window and walked that way. Look, don't get me wrong, I have wild camped enough. I've stopped in a handful of bothies, I've stopped in enough dodgy youth hostels across the world to not be that shit up at night. But when a sheep rustles and you're 2.5 hours away from anything at all, this is the same sheep which is now harassing my tent, by the way. Oh no! Look at him! He's harassing the tent. I don't know whether to go and stop him or... I don't know. I'm going to confront the sheep. Go on, get on it! Look at them. Plotting against me. God, the weather is pretty awful out here, actually. But, oh, to have that little shelter is so nice. And luckily the sheep haven't damaged the tent yet, so let's go back inside and get out of the horrific weather. Well, there we go. Before the sheep fiasco, I was genuinely going to turn around and say that it was really peaceful being sat in this mountain bothy on a stormy night, all on my own, in the middle of nowhere. And then a sheep shits me up. I'm like paranoid watching the tent now. I've got a good line of sight out the window watching that tent. I'm hoping the sheep doesn't return. I mean, there's actually 4 of them. What there is outside is a gang of sheep. I've scared 2 of them off, and now they're plotting against me. Either way, I'm going to enjoy my nice cup of tea. I even had to light the candle just for sympathetic lighting for the camera, because it is so dark in this bothy. As you can see when I was outside, it's not actually that dark yet, because I haven't got a watch on and my time's on the phone, but I think it's around about 9 PM, so sunset hasn't quite happened yet, so it is still light. It's probably going to be light for another half an hour or so, but yeah, it's so dark inside the bothy, but I'm glad I'm inside here and actually not in my tent, because that one-man tent is quite low to the ground. And in weather like this, when you can't sit out and admire the views, a mountain bothy is what you want. Well, it's safe to say the weather out there is pretty horrific. This came in a lot earlier than I thought it was going to, and I'm glad I pitched the tent because of that. But I think this is probably going to go on all night. You only find out if you like a tent when it starts to rain. This is incredibly difficult to get changed into with a dog inside, and when you've got to have all the doors shut, there really isn't much room at all. But that's one-man tents for you. Anyway, I'm going to get off to sleep now, and I will see you in the morning. Let's hope this tent is fully waterproof and lasts. Well, it's safe to say things are pretty bleak up here this morning. You really can't see very much. I mean, I'm at about 350 metres and visibility is down to 50 metres, something like that. So if I had a tricky route back down this morning, navigation would be a bit difficult. However, luckily I'm just following a nice track back down, so it shouldn't be an issue. But you can tell that the weather's been in all night long on these moorlands. You know, it was the first one to rain for a couple of hours. That changed to a few hours, and then it's rained all night long. And yeah, this is the result. And it's still raining now, actually. It's starting to rain again. So what I'm going to do is get the tent door shut and get Chico back inside the tent, who's decided that he's over there, and pack the tent away from the inside out, and then shelter in the bothy for a bit of breakfast.
The weather's broke this morning just for a tiny bit. I've got the main stuff that I've got in my tent inside the Bothy now. Gonna pack the tent away, give it a shake off while it's not raining too badly, have some breakfast and head back down. Tent's all packed away now. What I'm going to do is have a couple of hot cross buns for breakfast and then do the most important thing that I could possibly do in this mountain Bothy, is sign the logbook. Let people know we've been here. These are, you know, really handy for a lot of different purposes, and it's a shame there isn't more Bothys so they become even more useful. So search teams, etc. You know, if I was to get lost in the area and sign this, people would know that I'd stopped here overnight. I could give them a bit of information. They use these in other national parks around the world. I've hiked through New Zealand where all the huts have a logbook outside them which you have to sign as you're going past. That way a rescue team would know at what point you got to and they'd, you know, be able to narrow their search location down, which is why I always make an effort if there's a Bothy in the area to pop in and sign this, especially walking alone, because that could really help a rescue team find you. And it's not something you're always thinking about. You're not thinking about getting lost. However, it's just not something you can predict sometimes. So I'm going to give that a sign this morning, let them know I've stopped overnight outside, and hopefully we will make it back to my van unscathed. But if we don't, people will know we've been here at least. Time to leave our little mountain Bothy behind now and head back down to the van. It's been a brilliant night and just a lovely place to stop as well. One of the main things about these mountain Bothys, and I will stress this, is, you know, leave them in the condition you found them, or if not better than the condition you found them. You know, there's no point going to a mountain Bothy, using all its resources and then not replacing any of them. I popped a candle in there before I left, because I did burn a bit of one last night. However, I didn't really use much else, but what an adventure. What a cracking night out in the Northern Pennines. This place is special, really special. And if you get the opportunity, if you do enough wandering around the Northern Pennines, you too might come across it. I'd say Crossfell is just up there, so, you know, it's a relative indication as to where it might be. Greg's hut's just up there too, so get your maps out, get adventuring, see if you can come and find this awesome little place. I hope you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, please do like, subscribe, share, and do everything else which, you know, helps YouTube videos. I don't know, embed it in a website, email it to someone, maybe send it on BBM, I don't know, whatever you want, it'll be helpful. And I will see you in the next video.